You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
And the answer was until the day you die, because that's what life is all about. That's what we get told. And if you're not aware of it, and you get sucked into that shit, then you're 30, 40, 50 years old one day going, why does my life suck? Because I sold my soul for a paycheck.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Season 3 of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I'm, of course, Phil Better, and this season is presented to you by Unicorn Incubator. Unicorn is the largest rural incubator accelerator of its kind in the world, located in southwestern France, Sola. Its mission is to give entrepreneurs and their families their lives back while helping them build game-changing technology startups. Startups in the company are provided with a complete ecosystem for success, with direct access to proven funding sources, top-notch legal and accounting representation, access to the world's most generous business incentives, and most importantly, a dedicated sales and marketing accelerator that will put a startup's product or service on the fast track to success. Welcome back to Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. This is the penultimate episode for the season, and it is a big one, ladies and gentlemen. I have the kid who made it, Morgan Nelson himself. Now, if you don't know who he is, guys, get ready for an incredible story. This guy, Morgan Nelson, is the guy at the age of 23, was financially free to live his dream life. Like, he's 23 years old. He's 24, 25, 27 right now as the interview. I'm not really sure. But at 23, he was financially free. Like, he was done. He was dead broke at 21. 23 years old, he's living the dream life that every 23-year-old wants, and now he's teaching people through his podcast, Dreaming Out Loud. It was an amazing connection that, thanks to my client Lloyd, you know, the man with the $1 million podcast, the Money Grows on Trees podcast. If you're not listening to it, you should be. Search it on Apple and wherever you get your podcast. But he talks about his drive to get financially free, some of the businesses he has upcoming. I'm really excited to talk to him next year when we get a chance, maybe go when I'm in Australia, to meet Lloyd and doing some live podcasts down there. But yeah, enough about me. Let's jump into this interview. Morgan, please, welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you on, and I would like you to just give us a quick 30 seconds, elevator pitch on who you are and why you are on the show.
Damn, an elevator pitch. I've never done this before. I'm 27 years old from the Gold Coast, Australia, and I've been an entrepreneur now since 21. Pretty much at 21 years old, I was just completely broke emotionally, financially, and in every single possible way. And I was introduced to network marketing and used that as my first vehicle to kind of create financial freedom by 23. Then when I was 23, I moved to Mexico because why not? And
seems
I
like a logical choice.
Yeah, I like tacos, margaritas, and sunsets, so I figured why not go there? And I lived there for a little while, and I spent the last sort of 3-4 years traveling all around the world while building this business to a 6-figure income and to the top income earner for my company, for my age group. And, and that's kind of what it's been. We've grown a global team now of over 5,000 people in 19 countries around the world. And it's just crazy. It's growing more and more every single day. But that's one of the main things I've done. And in that journey as well, I've spent, traveled around the world speaking on stages to, I think, 5 different countries now. Crowds of up to nearly 6,000 people, and spoken on stage with Darren Hardy, the founder of Success Magazine, Joel Brown, founder of Addicted to Success, and a whole bunch of others. So, but the main thing is I'm just living a fun life, doing what I want, when I want, with who I want, and inspiring as many people as I can to do the exact same along the way.
Yeah, you pretty much have the life that every teenage kid wants when they turn 21, be financially free as soon as possible, to live in Mexico drinking tequila and eating tacos and watching the sunset, versus doing the 9-to-5 grind that we all end up going into. So I'm really glad you're on here for the younger, youthful generation, my kind of generation as well. I'm near the beginning of the millennial generation. I'm a little older than you. I'm around.
How old are you?
I'm 30. I think I'm 36. Yeah, I'm 36.
Yeah, you're a millennial.
I'm on that cusp, though. I'm on that cusp of a millennial. But I love how you have your millennial mentor in your as your Instagram page. So I love that, because it's what we need. We don't have many mentors in our age group that have reached the success that we see our parents or the previous generations have. So it's good to see that someone is out there teaching us how to live free, because we don't want to work the 9-to-5, because it's not fun. Have you ever worked the 9-to-5 at all in your adult life?
Yeah. I had a job for 5 years of my whole life. A full-time job. I was a carpenter. So when I finished school, so the funny thing is, I always wanted to work. I wanted to make money. Because
who doesn't?
Yeah, exactly right. I think there's so many people who want something, and then there's very few actually go and fucking get it. And I've just always never been able to understand why people don't go out and get the thing they want. And so when I was younger, I just saw, dad makes money, dad makes the decisions. And with more money, you can do more in your life. And at school, it was like, man, if I had money, I can go to the tuck shop, at school and whatever, at the canteen. I'm not sure what you guys call it. But
we call it a cafeteria, but
cafeteria.
Cantina, tux. Cafeteria. When you said tuck shop, I'm like, is that a tuxedo shop? Did he really? His goal was to have a tuxedo?
That's like the most Aussie slang. Like sometimes I say it's Aussie slang and I don't know it's Aussie till I say it. Tuck shop. Absolutely. Because we call food real, the most slangiest Aussie you can get. It's called tucker. Go, yeah, you want to have some tucker, mate? It's like a snack. Okay. And so I guess that's where the tuck shop comes from. Never thought about that before, but there you go. Another weird word that Australians make up and we have no idea how we can explain it. But yeah, I what was I doing? I wanted to make some money, so back in school, my first thing I was doing was I actually used to make these little key rings out of this nylon shit. It was this bit of a phase going around. So I started making the stuff with my sister. She started teaching me. I was like, this is cool. We'd watch movies and make this stuff. And then I started making all these key rings. And I was like, what can I do with these? So I started to sell them door knock around my neighborhood. Door knock, hey, you want to buy some key rings? And I'd sell them for 20 cents, 50 cents, because they were so crap. I was not good at that. But I was like, hey, how can I turn this now into money? Because I got all this product here and I don't want to do anything with it. And as I'm door knocking, I go down on one of the streets, and at the front of this house is these other kids on the block with a bit of cardboard set up, and they got the same type of key rings, same sort of stuff, but they look incredible. They've made butterflies out of them. They made all this shit. I'm like, holy crap, you guys are amazing. Are you selling these? And they go, yeah, we're selling for $1. My first thought was this: those bastards, they're more expensive than mine. Good luck selling them. And I was like, well, actually, they're so much better than mine. I would rather buy that than mine. So then I thought this: I'm going to buy all of yours. So I bought all of theirs. And then I said, I'm just going to try something. So I used the money that I was selling my little crappy ones. I used some of that money to buy these way better ones. Then I went up to the supermarket up the road and did the exact same thing they were doing, but to a bigger market of people with money, because they go to a supermarket, and I was selling for $5 each. So I started flipping all these things, and I'd take more money and I'd go down and down. These guys were my suppliers now. I said, hey, can you make me some more? And then when they caught on to what I was doing, they were like little kids. And they're like, well, we're going to do the same thing. So there was that business gone. But that ran for a little while. I just started making some extra pocket money. And that was great. And then what happened was, I think while I was at the supermarket, I saw, we got the trolley boys, like the shopping cart people that collect the carts and all that stuff. And in Australia, you need to be 9 months to have a job legally. I was about 11. And I was like, man, I'm not waiting that long like I can work now. I've got time. I got to work. I think I want to make money. So I found out who the boss was that gets the jobs there. And I went to their house and I just lied to them about my age. Hey, I want to work. I want to work 1 day a week, you know? And she just gave me a job. And she's like, are you 14? I said, of course I'm 14. She's like, okay, you're going to need to fill out this tax file number thing. I put a fake number in. I made it all up and we never submitted shit. And she paid me cash. And then eventually what happened was we moved to another part of the suburbs. And I got another job just working cash for somebody else. Doing this like magnetic stuff, super random, but just making money, you know? So I was always working from around 11 years old. So I lied about my income. And then when I lied about my age. Then when I was old enough to get a job, I started working at McDonald's.
Oh God. Well, that is like, oh my God. I'm thinking like, oh my God, but McDonald's has this great reputation. If you work properly in the system, you get a lot of knowledge.
Yeah. The funny thing is like, because when I spent a lot of time in America, I go 3-4 times a year over there usually. And I see it over there, and my ex was actually American. She's like, it's so funny because in Australia, your first job is usually McDonald's. Like that's where everybody starts. You go to McDonald's or you go to Burger King. You know, that's kind of where you start, fast food stuff. So everybody gets a job. But in America, it's very different. It's kind of like if you end up working at McDonald's, like, oh my God, man, what's going on? And I loved working at Macca's, but I learned so much, and we call it Macca's as well, by the way. And I learned so much about leadership, work ethic, you know, customer service, all this stuff. And I got fired from there. That's what happened when I was 17. Got fired from that was my first job I got fired from. And then what happened was I went and traveled Europe. No, sorry, I finished school. I'm just telling you about my jobs, right? Yeah. I finished school, no education. Like I didn't get what happens when you finish school over here is you get given a score out of 1 to 25. 25 is the worst, 1's the best. And judging on your number that you get determines what you can go and study at college or university if you want to go.
Wow.
So if you don't get a good number, you got your shit out of luck to get anything good. I got 21, which is up there with one of the worst. And everyone's like, dude, you're not going to get a good job, you know, blah, blah, blah. Your life's going to be a mess. And I was like, well, fuck you. You don't know anything about me. I can create whatever I want. And I just visualize this life that I want freedom. I want success. And I'm going to get it some way. And I'm not going to trade my soul and work a job that I don't like, because I want to enjoy my life. That's just what I always wanted to do. So I saw so many of my friends go to university. I went and got a job, trained time for money, doing some cleaning stuff, saved up money, traveled Europe, come back from Europe. And I got to experience 2 months of absolute freedom where I got to wake up and do whatever the hell I wanted that day. It's the best thing ever. Come back and a friend of mine says, hey, do you want to become a carpenter? And I said, what, laying carpets? And he's like, no, building houses. I said, oh yeah, that'd be cool. Give it a go. And that's where I started. I started an apprenticeship because I had to start a career at some point, right?
Yeah.
So I had my apprenticeship there. That's when I started doing full-time work, you know, 40, 50, 60 hours a week. And I even remember my first day on the job site. I get there and the 8.5 hours into the day. It was 9.5 hours into the day. 3:30 in the afternoon it was. We started at 6 o'clock in the morning. My boss says to me, you can go home early today because it's your first day. And I said, this is early? What's a normal day? And he said, we work to 4 or 5, so we 10 or 11 hours a day. I go, how many days a week do you do this? He goes, 5, usually 6, work Saturdays too. And I just thought in my head, for how many years? And the answer was, until the day you die. Because that's what life is all about. That's what we get told. And if you're not aware of it, and you get sucked into that shit, then you're 30, 40, 50 years old one day going, why does my life suck? Because I sold my soul for a paycheck. That's what happens. So I realized that day, I was like, I don't like this, but this is momentarily. I got to figure out a way to, I want to be the guy that's employing people one day. So I started to just look around and I was building houses. So the property scene sort of got, you know, ingrained into me. So I thought I was going to be like a property developer, builder, all this kind of stuff. So I was looking for all these different ways to make some extra money because I'm working literally 10 hours a day minimum, sometimes 6 days a week. So I had 1 day of freedom per week. It was just crazy. There was one part, it was about a year of my journey there where I was working at 80 hours a week. It sucked, man. It was like 12 hours a day, 13 hours a day. And it just sucks. So I was always looking for different ways to make money. Then a friend of mine, he was quite successful already. And this is what I started to do. I started to notice, why is there some people in life that are quite successful and they're happy? And why is there some people that aren't very successful and happy? What are they doing differently? And I don't know what they're doing, but I'm going to get around this person because they can probably give me some clues. Success leaves clues.
Yeah.
You know, so maybe I can just get around them. Can I wash their car? Can I do something? Can I become friends with them? And so one of my mates, he was doing really well in life. He was about 24. He had a whole bunch of property already and he was really happy. And I said, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, I just started doing this network marketing. You should come check it out. And I said, okay. I went and had a look at it. I called it a cult, called it a scam, called it everything. But I had very big opinions and a very little bank account. That was the thing, you know? So I just decided to have an open mind and look at it because, you know, if your mind's like a parachute, right? Oprah Winfrey says your mind's like a parachute if it doesn't work when it's not open. And I just thought, screw it, I'm just going to give it a go. And I started getting around entrepreneurs, started getting around the hustle, people talking about dreams, vision, goals, impact, income, you know? So I got one group over here talking about all this great stuff. Then one group over here just talking about other people.
Yeah.
Which one do I want to listen to, you know? And that's kind of where it all started. So yeah, and then the next 2.5 years, I got myself out of a job. So it was 5 years of my whole life where I actually worked full time, and yeah, it sucked, man.
So I have worked pretty much since I was 18. So nearly 20 years of my life, I've had a 9-to-5. So you caught on really quickly.
Change that shit.
Yeah, I'm in the process of changing it. I know by the end of my birthday this year, I'm going to be fully self-employed because I'm grinding nose to the grindstone because I know what it takes. Luckily, I've been in contact with people, great entrepreneurs like yourself, Lloyd, and some of the other people who I've had the honor to interview on my podcast. And I've like, yeah, changing the group of people you're surrounding with changes your mindset, and you start thinking the next level. You start thinking. You hear like the laws of attraction, bringing all that great stuff into you. It's not until you start hanging around with people who have that level of success that you want, that you start seeing that it actually works. Because you have your friends who are talking about everybody else, but when you have the friends that are talking about how to become successful, that's the game changer event.
Yeah, like I think that was the first thing in self-development I heard of. You become the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with. If you surround yourself with 5 people who are broke, you'll become the 6th. Surround yourself with 5 millionaires, you'll become the 6th. Which one are you going to choose? And now it's like becoming successful is quite easy. Like when you really think about it, it's like you just need to hack it, and knowing that your environment is going to rub off on you, knowing that you'll become the 6th person of the 5 you surround yourself with. Now you just go look at, how do I get around 5 people that are living the life I want, that are making the money that I want? It's just interesting. Yeah. Like if you want to become a professional at doing what you're doing, you go network and get a mastermind with people who are freaking killing it. Yeah. And you will be forced. This will be, you'll either be forced to level up through discomfort and growth, because that's what's going to happen. It's not just going to happen easy. You're not just going to be like, oh, I never thought about it like this. So easy. It's like, fuck, this is uncomfortable for me to do. I don't want to do what they're doing, but they are doing that. That's why I get the results. So now I get to choose. Do I want the results or do I want my comfort? And then you get to start and you get to push and go through that growth, that discomfort. Or you'll see it as scary and make up all this bullshit in your head and be like, oh, I can't do that. Justify why they've got it and you don't, and all that. And then talk yourself out of it and lower yourself back down to this frequency that continually keep getting the exact same results you're already getting.
Yep.
That's what happens. So if you're willing to really, if the people are listening really want to become successful in anything, go and get around people that are doing it. And then be willing to grow, be willing to level up through the discomfort, because that's what's going to happen. They're going to force you to think bigger. Like I remember when I moved back to the Gold Coast here, I spent 3-4 years traveling the world. So a lot of people in my circle were kind of people that are in the network marketing space. And I come back here and I don't know as many people in this right here where I live in network marketing. And I started surrounding myself with other just entrepreneurs in general, people making big money, multiple 6 figures a month. And just the conversation's different, man. Like we're all on a yacht together. Okay. We all hired a yacht. Yeah. First clue. We're just on a yacht together. Because
like it's a regular Monday morning. You're like, oh, we're just going to take the yacht out today.
It was actually a Wednesday.
No, I apologize.
And cause that's it. They're just like, hey, we're having a bit of a celebration. And this is why they were celebrating. One of the guys I hadn't met yet, he was 23 years old, celebrating making his first $1 million in business. Jesus. So they hire out a yacht. I was like, this is great. This is how I like to celebrate my friends. And the conversation with some of the people on the yacht were having is they were teasing each other of how much money they were making. They were like, what the fuck? What do you mean you're only making 50 grand a month still? Come back when you're making 6 figures, little boy, and all this stuff. I was like, and they were joking with each other, like when you guys start, and then they were joking with the other guys who were making 150. when are you going to make 300? Why are you screwing around with that still? And it's just very interesting. Like I was having a conversation with one of them the other day, who was actually part of this conversation. And I just ran a mastermind. I was doing like a beta mastermind. I did it really freaking cheap because I just wanted people in there to pretty much I was recording content.
Mhm.
And I was like, I might as well sell some spots in it. And so I did it really freaking cheap. And he said to me, he's like, dude, stop fucking around with that price, man. It's like, yes, 2K minimum. And I'm like, oh, you think so? He's like, yes. Like, stop fucking around with it. That's how much you charge now, okay? Just 2K minimum for people to be in this shit. I'm like, okay.
That's how we do it.
Yeah. And that's how it's done. But if you hang around people thinking small, acting small, they'll be like, oh my God, that's so expensive. How do you charge that for somebody? But then you talk to people making big money. And this guy in particular, Sasha, he's business partners with Jordan Belfort, Wolf of Wall Street. So it's
yeah, when you're around someone who has a nickname of the Wolf of Wall Street, you're going to think big because you go after the big fish. Like a wolf is not timid.
Yeah, that's right. But yeah, environment is absolutely everything. I believe that's where everything starts. If you're not in the right environment, you're not going to create success in anything.
It's true. After interviewing, I think you're like my near 50th entrepreneur that I've interviewed on this show. And it's all the same thing. It's the people you surround yourself, get discomfort, and you'll grow exponentially in anything you do. And it's true. One of my entrepreneurs, he started an incubator for startup tech in the augmented reality and virtual reality. And a friend of his was like, hey, do you want to sponsor the rugby team, this old rugby team? And he's like, yeah, sure, no problem. And then as COVID was coming around, his friend's like, oh, do you want to go to the next level? And he's like, you know what? No, I'm going to buy the team. I'm going to buy the team and I'm going to run the team like a business. And he's reinvented the brand, made it better. And because of his knowledge in the tech industry, he was able to digitize all the games and then sell that to other amateur sports so that they have the same digital thing. And it's like, that's genius. That's just genius, getting outside your comfort zone. He was never a sports owner. And then all of a sudden he's now owning a sports team. And so he's growing outside his comfort zone.
Yeah.
It's
amazing. And it never would have had like, it's like, I'm thinking about what I'm doing right now. Like I'm doing some things to create some extra income just because I'm getting around other people that are getting creative. And like a big thing here that people think create passive income flows from property. And I just probably like, and so many people like, it's just it doesn't excite me. Like I will get into it one day. I just don't, it's just not it right now. And what I just did the other day, I just saw someone selling a big camper trailer online. And I just thought, I wonder how much I could get if I bought that and then rented it out. So I did a little bit of research, checked it out, found a website. It's kind of like an Airbnb for camper vans. And I just thought, I can get an average $570 a week if it's rented out 40% of the time. So then I thought, well, what if I get somebody to pay them a commission on how much it gets rented out? So they run the entire thing. So my hands are off it and I don't have to touch it, but I just buy the investment. I was like, fuck it. So yesterday I literally drove 2 hours up north, picked up this trailer, 2 hours back down, dropped it to my friends. It's getting a couple things fixed on it today. And it's already booked next week, 8 nights, rented out nearly $1,000 in my pocket. And I've just created this little thing. And someone said to me the other day, like, oh, what are you going to create a camper van business now? I go, look, probably.
Maybe, hey.
Never was in the plan. But it just, you can evolve, you can get creative and look at different ways. But this is what made me think of the idea. I want to get a G-Wagon, Mercedes G-Wagon, but I really can't come to terms with spending the money. It's just stupid. It really is stupid. And I'm not going to get into debt of a liability. But I did think, I was like, because this is how I think now. If I'm going to buy something big, I'm like, how can I use someone else's money? And how can I make this a little bit of fun out of this and for it to make sense to me? So what I've been thinking about, I'm like, let's say if getting this car might be $800. I haven't fully looked into it yet because I'm not doing it still yet. But I'm on the building blocks to sort of do it. Let's say, for example, it's $1,000 a week in repayments. Let's just say that's what it is. Instead of paying that, like I could pay that, but it's just stupid. I'd rather take that and invest.
Of course.
But what I'd rather do is look for ways. So let's say it's a camper van, for example. I spend 20 grand on this camper. And now I'm going to be, if on average, if I can collect an extra nearly $600 a week on it, what if I get 2 now? and I've spent $40,000, which is actually what I'm doing. I'm buying a bigger one for 70 grand. It'll be here in a few months. So when that gets down here, and let's say if I'm making now positive cash flow of $1,300 a week, it's rent out 40% of the time, give someone $100 to run it, I'm pocketing $1,100, $1,200 a week. That's going to cover my G-Wagon. And not only after the next 5 years, when the G-Wagon's paid off, I'll have a positive cash flow business and the G-Wagon, and I haven't used any of my money to get it.
That's how the rich stay rich. They get other people to pay for their things. That's the exact mindset that the rich people do. I was watching Gary Vee where he was talking with what's his name? Jeezy, the rapper Jeezy. Right. I don't know if you know who he is. He's a big rapper in Atlanta, and he was talking to him about buying Wheaties, the Wheaties brand. And he's like, you could do it. Just get other people to front the money for you, and you can flip it for $1 billion afterwards. And it's exactly what you're doing. You're like, this is my investment, this cash positive business where, renting out camper vans is the best thing ever because you've already seen return on your investment of $600. You said $600, right? Next week, or $1,000?
No, $900.
$900
after I've already paid the things that need to be paid.
Yeah,
that's profit.
Yeah, so you already have that positive cash flow coming in. It's going to make you money, and you're like already thinking, okay, how can I 10x this so that I can then get my G-Wagon, because that's your goal at the current moment. Like, my goal is just to quit my day job. That's my goal. So I know that I need to have at least 2 clients a month paying me a certain amount to cover my basic costs. So I figured it out. I know that other people can pay my way instead of burning my life away 9 to 5, which hasn't given me the freedom that I thought it would. So I love seeing it, you actually putting it into action, what I thought, and you're putting it into action and showing, yeah, it is possible. Again, surrounding yourself with people who have the success that you want.
Yeah. And just looking for how you can leverage, because that's why I look at, there's a whole bunch of different types of income. You got active income, residual income, passive income, windfall income, and then you got leveraged income. So active income is the one you trade time for money, right? We need to get away from that as fast as we can. But I also believe, like, we talk about having multiple income streams. Like, you've probably heard that before, have multiple income streams. But sometimes people hear that and they think multiple income streams of this same type of income. So they think, I'm going to go get 3 jobs and drive Uber. Now I'm on my way to become a millionaire because I've got 4 income streams. No, you're on your way to wasting your life away trading time for money.
Burning out, pretty much.
Yes. Yeah. And then 5 years goes and you go, far out. Where did the last 5 years of my life go? Because I've been working my ass off for nothing and just trading time for money. So the idea is to still get paid while you don't work. So active income is great. So I think have an active income. So I've got an active income, right? Then you got residual income, like network marketing. So you do the work one time, get paid again forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. That's why I'm very passionate about that one, because that's a very scalable kind of vehicle. That doesn't matter who you are, where you're from. You can come into that, fall into a system, be mentored properly, get the right products, the right support system, and start building wealth part-time. That's what I did. Part-time while working a full-time job, quit my job, build that even bigger, then start taking some residual income, putting into investments, create passive income. And then you take some of this income, then the windfall income. This is something that it's kind of like, buy a property, fix it up, flip it, make 50 grand in the space of 6 months. That's like quick turnover, you flip it.
Jackpot mentality style.
Yeah, that's called windfall income. So it's like buying a business, building up, selling it, things like that. And the last one is, like I was talking about, leveraged income. This is the greatest. This is like what you're talking about. Like, how can you, like, it's the idea of being paid instead of 100% of your own efforts. You get paid 1% on 100 people's efforts. Which would you rather?
Having 1% of 100 effort, I don't have to do much work. Sure thing.
That's exactly it. And, creating leverage. So that's why I challenge people to do, get into a space. So that's what we do. So we help people create residual income and leverage income simultaneously, because you create leverage income while the residual is building. So residual is recurring forever. This is leverage, building a team and teaching everyone how to do a little bit. And that's kind of the whole idea. So I love what you're doing with what you're doing, because you're creating a bit of leverage as well. You're leveraging other people's platforms, and you're doing the things that they don't want to do. And you're about to get into that. And then one day you can blow this so big up, you can blow this up so big, then hire people to do what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
Let's say you get 20 people a month, you hire one or two staff, And now instead of getting paid 100% off 20 people you can't physically do, you start getting paid 10% of 20 different people, right? And you're doing less but earning more.
Yeah, the biggest thing I learned from my original podcasting is I hate hearing my own voice. I love talking. I love talking to people, getting to know them, but hearing my own voice when I'm editing, it's just like it's nails on a chalkboard. So I hired an editor for this. This podcast is someone else does that for me, so I don't have to listen to myself. I take my notes. I'm like, okay, this point, this point, this point. These are good timestamps. Choose which one you like. Put it at the beginning. Like I gave him the template of how I want it, and I don't care how he does it, how his tips and tricks. I don't care because that's his deal. For me, as long as it sounds like a professional's done it, I'm happy with it. And he makes me sound like a professional. But doing like Lloyd, I love listening to Lloyd because I'm learning. It's like I'm getting taught how to create these multiple streams of income. I'm going to start listening to your podcast now because hell, I love talking to you and your if this is half the stuff you're giving away in your podcast, I'm definitely going to be listening to it more often because it's going to be worth it. And of course, you have a top 100 podcast in Australia, so that's a goal for me. I want to have a top 100 podcast in Montreal, in Canada, or wherever in the world. So by listening to yours and learning how you did it, and doing it with Lloyd's, building up Lloyd's podcast as his editor and producer, I'm going to learn. And just simple, like you said, surround your people with the people that you want to admire their success. So yeah,
I love it. And you're getting creative by doing it as well, because you're getting paid to learn.
Yeah, I think creative people are going to be the biggest entrepreneurs coming up, because the business people have already set the gateway and showed everybody how to make money. Like, build a business, you make money, you can charge, So the creative people, they spent years honing their craft, like the digital artists, the painters, and all that. So teaching them how to do business, that's super easy because there's thousands of courses on it. So now you're teaching them how to leverage their art to make money and make a business out of it. So, and places like Fiverr, Upworks are the best place for them to learn.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So what gave you the idea to start your podcast?
What gave me the idea? Like, it's always been something, I like creating, there's mainly like, I was talking myself out of it for so long. Cause like all these limiting beliefs and, everyone's got limiting beliefs. And it's funny that the more you become aware of it, and the more you start to crush them, the more intelligent they become, because they're like, fuck, this guy is smart. We can't pull the same shit. Like, you're not good enough anymore. We can't pull that because he's too smart. He crashes. So what it started to do was, it wasn't nothing like, oh, no one's going to want to listen, or who's going to, there's none of that shit. It's like, I know it's going to be great. There's more things like two big things. Do you have the time to allocate to it right now to go all in like you need to? And wait until you make it $1 million a year first, because that's going to land better or some shit. And I was like, yeah, good point. That's very true. I got to make $1 million a year first. And yeah, no, that's probably not the right time. So I delayed it for over a year because I want to get this message out of just self-development. Like, so my podcast is all about self-development, mindset, success, chasing your dreams and executing on them. Not just motivation, hype bullshit. It's like how to execute on your stuff. And I go all in. Like, most of the stuff that I teach in my podcast, like, people pay me for. So I just go all in, because I also know that once you pay for something, you actually are ready to apply it. So it's a funny thing with that. But then when I became aware of those limiting beliefs, I was like, that's such bullshit. Like, there's not going to be, if I make $1 million this year, which I will, there's no difference in how much knowledge and impact I can make this year compared to last year. I probably know a few more things, but I know a fuckload that I can start already teaching in my network and bringing them and everything. So I'm like, how stupid is this? I'm being selfish by believing this, because I'm delaying this for everybody else. So once I realized that, I was like, this is bullcrap. And then it was about a 2-week turnaround. Bam. I just launched everything and I was just up and I just went for it. And then in the first 2 months, it went into the top 100 self-development in Australia. And then the first, I think 4 or 5 months, it was 101 in USA, which really pissed me off because it was one off top 100. And it was actually top 50 in Canada.
Nice. Well, yeah, there's not many Canadian podcasts on self-development today, but yeah, congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, so that'll happen, and you've had some amazing guests on now. I really had like John Lee. He's come on. Peter Taunton, the founder of Snap Fitness. He's come on, like Garen Jones. We got Les Brown. In the process of funny story with Les, we've recorded half an episode with Les. So yeah, we're in the process of finishing this one and getting that up. But yeah, we got some really amazing guests on there, and yeah, but the main thing of just wanting to help. So when I create a big impact, so I'm in the process of that's a part of my branding strategy of really growing my personal brand and growing it, getting a message out there and giving value and growing my audience. That's the biggest thing. So in entrepreneurship, I learned that from Grant Cardone, and Grant's like, he's like, instead of focusing on a product you want to make, so many people focus on a product. They're like, sweet, I've got this energy drink. This is the best fucking energy drink in the world, which it is actually phenomenal. But it's like, this is the best energy drink in the world. It's like got fruits, veggies, blah, 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 healthy. Blah, blah. So amazing. It could be so amazing, but if there's no one there to buy it, then how amazing is your product?
Yeah.
So I'm going all in on creating my audience. Like, look at Gary Vee. Gary Vee's got this audience. If Gary Vee created Gary Vayner energy drinks tomorrow, holy crap.
Well, that's how
it'd be huge.
That's how he's gotten his number one books, is his audience.
Mm-hmm.
He spent every single day for 13 years, I think, engaging on Twitter, engaging on Instagram, engaging on Facebook. He built his brand, and because most people just know him as Gary Vee, they don't know that he has Vayner Media behind him. He has Vayner Sports. He has Empathy Wine. He has Wine Library. He has all these businesses that he was able to spin out of his literally putting his hands in the dirt and learning everything so that he can then translate that to selling it to clients. He created the product and the audience at the same time. So yeah, building your personal brand is the most important thing to do, because if you don't have that audience, you have no one to sell it to, and you can't charge $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 for your masterminds. I know I interviewed a gentleman who's charging $25,000 for his mastermind, and I'm like,
that's still cheap.
Yeah, compared to like, but still to me, who isn't in that income level, I'm like, yeah, no, that's way too expensive. But for other people, that's like 20, like Bill Gates, it's 20 seconds of his life. He's like, okay, I can pay it now. You know, that's a dream, you know. I think at one point it was cheaper for him to walk away from a drop $100 bill than actually spend the time to pick it up. That's how much money he was making at a time. Like, incredible.
Yeah. But I guarantee you he would still actually, I've heard that, but I would bet $100.
Oh yeah,
he doesn't walk away from $100.
No.
Yeah, because that's the thing, and that's what people need to understand. It's like sometimes people have this thing around money, but it's like you got to respect money, or it's not going to respect you. If you're going to walk past money, you're saying it's an energy. So if you're showing that you don't care about it, then holy crap, man, it's going to not care about you. You got to think about it in a relationship. If you didn't give your partner attention and affection and appreciate her and use her for what she's good at, then she's going to leave you for someone who gives her the attention, right? And that's exactly the same thing with money. So I've heard stories so many times. I'm like, I bet your ass that he does not walk past that money.
No one who's
he like bends over and is like, sweet, thank you.
Another 100. Thank you. Yep. This is my kids into the kids college fund, or into my charity or something like that. Yeah. But yeah, it's you have to. I love that. Respect money, or else you'll lose the money. It won't respect you. I love that. Is going to be the hook of this podcast, by the way. Thank you for that.
I love it.
40 minutes into the podcast, we got this amazing hook point. So that's definitely going to be my hook point at the beginning. Now I'm going to ask you your number one lesson, if you have, of being an entrepreneur, because you've been an entrepreneur since 11 years old. You hustled for the money. What is one of the biggest things, apart from like going outside your comfort zone, would you say is necessary if you wanted to start being an entrepreneur?
I want to say the first thing that comes to mind is you gotta stop giving a shit what people think sooner. Because that's just the reality, man. Like no one cares. Like no one cares about you until you want to start to go do something big, and then they gotta try and talk shit, and that's what stops so many people. They fall into this part of doubt, and what happens is there's actually 4 parts of a cycle of growth, and everybody starts off unconsciously incompetent. They start off absolute shit, but they've got no idea that they're that shit. They're so excited. They tell their friends and family, I'm getting started. I'm so fired up. I'm doing this. It's going to be amazing. And they already start talking shit to them. You can't do that. Who do you think you are? Blah, blah, blah. And they go, I'll show you. You got no idea who I am. I'm unstoppable. And then the next part of the phase of the growth is consciously unconfident, where they're like, oh, I suck at this. Which is normal because everyone sucks at everything when they first start anything.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I suck. And all of a sudden, all these voices and opinions of other people get so much louder. Oh my God, maybe I am a failure. Maybe I am not cut out for this. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe this. Oh, maybe they're right. You know what? Maybe I'll just go back to doing the 9 to 5 till the day I die. Because that's what makes other people proud of me. Because when you start to do things that you want to do, you really get to pull out other people's insecurities about themselves. So they're not really trying. They're not trying to be a dick on purpose. But the two main reasons they do it is because they're actually trying to save you. They're actually trying to think that, oh my God, that's a scary world. Because in their head, their brain's going, oh my God, fear, uncomfort, talking to people at risk. Don't do that. You might get killed, because that's how our brain reacts. Mm-hmm. And then the other reason is it actually pulls out their insecurities, being like, I'm actually jealous because I don't have the balls to go do that. So it's not about you, it's about them. So you just got to know that and keep on going. But when you're in this part here, I call it the dip. This is when people just start to quit. This is where dreams go to die. And you're consciously unconfident. But what really happens here, this is where the work starts. This is where you need to get around people who've already done what you need to do. You get around people that are talking the language, they're walking the talk. They're talking like it, acting like it, living it, earning it, Get around them, model their success. And this is where the journey really starts. So through unconsciously competent, the next phase is consciously competent. And in between this is where the failure is, failing forward, seeking feedback, getting a coach, getting a mentor, and really putting in the work. This is what happens here. Eventually you wake up one day in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years time. You go, holy crap, I'm actually not too bad at this now. I'm getting it. Like I remember I used to be so shit. Now I'm kind of okay. But you're consciously competent. Like I'm getting pretty damn good at this. And the next phase is mastery, where you hit the top one, which is unconsciously competent. Where you're just so freaking good and you don't even know you're doing it. People go, how do you do that? I don't fucking know. I'm just a beast.
I just do it. It just happens.
Like when I first started talking on stage, like I was like, oh yeah, I could do this. And I get up there and I'm like, holy crap, I suck. And then like I tried, then I get off stage, I was like, wow, I was so crap at that. I hated it. And I wanted to quit. I never wanted to do it again. And then, through discomfort, through the fear, I kept doing it, failing forward. And I was scared to talk in front of crowds back at school because I could barely speak freaking English. And so I made up all this bullshit in my head why I couldn't do it. Oh, that's why they can do it because they didn't struggle that much at school, blah, 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 blah. And I justified all this bullshit why they could do it and why I couldn't. And then when I started to get around other people, I started to learn that we're the biggest adaptation device in human history, that we can start learning anything we want. We can create whoever the fuck we want to be. We can develop the mindset of who we want to be, develop the skills we want to be. That's the perfect thing about being a human being. We can learn anything we want. Yeah. It's amazing. So I started to do all this.
It's this thing right here. It's not just to keep your ears apart, people. It's actually very, very fucking useful.
Yeah. And I started to learn this shit. Then eventually I was like, I'm not too bad at this speaking thing now. Now some people are starting to compliment me. Morgan, you're not too bad at speaking. Next time I get asked to speak to 6,000 people on stage, one of the youngest who have ever been on that stage. And then people are like, wow, what, did you script that? I said, no, I had no fucking idea what was going to come out of my mouth before the 6,000 people. I didn't know what I was going to say. How do you do that? I don't know. I just do it because I'm a fucking beast.
I like that. I don't know. I'm
6.5 years. 6.5 years of going like, I'm confident I can get on any stage and speak now and train on things because I'm confident about it. So that's the thing, that's really becoming aware of that. But that's why it's very important to not listen to all this bullshit, because you're going to go through so much at the start. And then you know what happens at the end? All those people that talk shit, they're either not there, you forgot about them, or they come up to you and they go, oh my God, I knew you were going to be so good. You're so successful. It's like, shut the fuck up.
Where were you when I needed you?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Use them.
Yeah, you need those haters.
I'm so grateful for them. I used every single one of them because I was like, wow, thanks so much for doubting me. And, I see you watching my Instagram stories and that's funny, So that's the biggest thing. And I said in part of the story as well, the other thing I wish I knew earlier is how important a coach or a mentor is. So to get yourself coaching, invest in yourself. Like we're always talking about investing. And I think when people think about investing, they think stock market, property, and all this stuff, right? What does it say?
Invest in yourself.
Invest in yourself. That's it.
The name of the show.
I only started investing in the stock market last year. I've invested probably like $70,000 in myself in the last 6 to 7 years. And, but like what else has given me well over 1,000% ROI? No property, no bit, you know what I mean? That's so, you can't get that.
No.
So invest in yourself. If you have a few grand in your bank, go and invest into a course, a coach, a mentor, a program, someone who has the results you want that you can align with, that you can learn from, and that's just where to start. So that's what I'd say.
That's a great lesson for people to learn. And it's true. I've started investing in myself more than just this podcast. I have a coach helping me with my LinkedIn management, how to connect with LinkedIn people and build my brand and connect with more clients. And I've already gotten 2 other clients from using his strategies on LinkedIn. So like that was great for me because I'm going after the business entrepreneur world to help them spread their message about podcasting. And I was so glad that Lloyd hired me to be his podcast producer because he wanted to podcast. And it's great because then it reassures you. Like when you have a millionaire friend that says, yeah, I want you to produce my podcast. It's like, oh shit. I have a millionaire client, it's like the next level. Instead of having like this everyday people, it's like, no, I'm going to go after those people that can and willing to invest in themselves to build their brand. So I love it. And I love that we were able to connect through Lloyd because you've just given me and my audience masses amount of, I have 5-6 timestamps here just from what you talking. I'm like, yep, that's a great point. I'm going to re-listen to that point. That's another amazing point. And that's one of the benefits I found in podcasting. It's the best teacher because you get to talk and actually have these conversations you've always wanted with people who are like the leaders that you want to be.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's one thing I didn't realize. Like podcasting is so phenomenal because like you get free mentorship, free coaching, you get access to some of the biggest people, and it's so incredible. And then like before and after the show, you get to have extra chats with them, extra advice. Like it's freaking incredible. But then it also creates you as an influence. So I'm a big, I love. It's so funny that podcasting just evolved for me. I started last year. It's gone really well. And I'm about to do a relaunch of it, and I'm taking it to a whole new level. But I've had so many people hit me up because there's so many different things when it comes to podcasting. There's actually just the back end creating it, which stops a lot of people. And unfortunately, once a lot of people get it going, there's the next step. It's like, well, do you have the personality to have a podcast? Do you know how to interview? Do you know how to ask and get good guests on your show? Do you know how to, good stories and take people along the journey and all these kinds of things? And I've had so many people hit me up for a few things. How do I launch my podcast? How do I do this? And the second one was can you teach me how to actually interview properly? Can you teach me how to get good guests and things like this? And then I've just been giving away all this value, and it's not really the line I've wanted to go down, but I've just naturally been drawn down it now. And I'm actually in the middle of creating, I'm writing a book on launching a podcast for beginners. And I'm going to be launching a course on how to actually, everything I've learned compressed into just the most simplest freaking X, Y, B. Here's exactly what to do. Don't worry about the rest, and you're going to have a successful podcast. But all those areas combined. So I'm in the process of kind of creating that thing as well. So I'm excited about that because I've had a lot of people sort of hit me up, and now I'm just going to be like, look, you can get this. It'll be super freaking cheap, like for $200 or some crap like that, where people can just get on it. But I think having a podcast is the most incredible thing ever.
Yeah. For your brand, it will be amazing.
And it puts you as a spot of influence. Like the amount of influence I now have because of my podcast. And I get introduced on stage now as people like, he's the host of this podcast. I'm like, I didn't know that was a thing. I just started talking into a microphone one day and recording it. But to most people, it's like, this is having such a big impact, and it elevates you to a whole new level. Like a whole new credibility. It's like becoming an author. You're becoming an authority now. And you get to bring all these amazing guests on your show, cross collaborate. Some of the people, like the money I've made in I launched it in May last year. So not even a year yet. And it's probably made me about 50 grand so far. which is just incredible, you know. And that's not in sponsorship. That's in cross collaborations. That's in opportunities, masterminds, coaching, things like that come from it because of the way I've been able to position myself. Right. And then I look at this, I'm like, if I had, like what you were saying you do with Lloyd, you compress all your failures and you teach people how to get it right. It's exactly what I'm doing. I'm like, it's gone well in the last year, but I know how to make it even better now. And that's why I'm going to do a relaunch and do everything that I know now. So I just want to give that to people so that I just want to see people win, you know, that's freaking cool.
That's all it is. I think one of the biggest lessons from interviewing on entrepreneurs is value. See other people succeeding. That's the biggest win. Seeing other people get their dreams, getting to the point where they're happy. Like if they want a podcast, showing them how to do a podcast from A to Z cheaply and efficiently so that they're not getting burnt out from the 5 years of podcasting, you know, mistakes that I did. So yeah, I or the 1 year you had of podcasting. So yeah, I think it's an amazing thing.
Yeah. Love it.
All right, Morgan, we're coming up to the end of the podcast. I wish we could continue, but these do have a short, you know, it's supposed to be only 45 minutes. We're nearly at an hour here. So I'm going to give you the stage pretty much, since that's something you're comfortable on, and just let my audience know where they can find you if they're interested in listening to your podcast or following you on the social medias.
Yeah, for sure. You know, the main place I hang out is on Instagram at Morgan T. Nelson. I'm starting Clubhouse. I'm just trying to find the time. I need to make the time, you know, so you can find us there, Morgan T. Nelson there. Go and follow us there. I will be kicking some shit off there. They're the main two ones, Instagram. Then my podcast is Dreaming Out Loud. You'll find it on any platform, iTunes, Spotify, all that stuff. And just stay tuned. If you follow us on Instagram, when all this podcast stuff's all created and stuff, that will be there if anyone has any interest in that, or just send me a DM now. I can actually put you on a waiting list and you can be one of the first people. But that is something that's in the process of coming out. So yeah, but just at Morgan T. Nelson across everything, you'll find us. And I'm actually kicking off a YouTube, and that will be launching in a few weeks as well. So Morgan T. Nelson across everything, you'll find me.
Yeah, and of course the notes and links will be in the show notes down below, because we support the entrepreneurs here and the lessons that they teach you here on the podcast. Morgan, I want to thank you again for being on the podcast. I have to give a great shout out to Lloyd for putting us in contact. And remember, people, just invest in yourself. Number one rule, invest in yourself. Guys, how much fun was that interview? I had so much fun following Morgan and talking about some of the wins he's gotten with his podcast. He just relaunched his podcast earlier this year and made a big contest around it. And it was a really, really crazy cool contest. You can win headphones by Beats by Dre and Apple products. It was really crazy how he's doing it, and I just was inspired. So yeah, it was really great about that. If you're interested in to see how he did it and some of the strategies, because we did talk about strategies and it was similar to what I was doing, you can check me out live every weekday, Monday through Friday, 5:30 p.m. Eastern Standard, in my podcasting group, Better Podcasting Growth Group. You can go check that out. If you want a direct link, you know how to do. Send us an email, sign up to the email group. You may get a lucky invite to that. That's usually for my clients. It's a great group. And ladies and gentlemen, I thank you so much for spending your time listening to this season, and I wish you a great day, and invest in yourself.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/kidsandfamily. Just go to Indeed.com/kidsandfamily right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.